The politics lead now. Michael Cohen back before Congress today after that explosive public testimony yesterday that gave investigators a potential gold mine of leads to explore about his former boss, President Trump. Cohen told lawmakers that then candidate Trump committed crimes. He outlined how he brought those crimes. He brought receipts. He told lawmakers where to go to get more, who else to interview. Of course, Cohen is a proven liar. He's going to prison in part because he previously lied to Congress, who even made some questionable claims while telling his version of the truth yesterday. As CNN's Jessica Schneider reports, Cohen's testimony could be full of new territory for investigators.
Michael Cohen capping off 3 days on Capitol Hill, today behind closed doors. His sit-down inside a secure facility with the House Intelligence Committee comes after an explosive open session Wednesday with House oversight.
He is a con man, and he is a cheat.
House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff told CNN his committee would focus on finding out more about the president's potential criminal conduct. Schiff tweeting, "We'll examine in depth many of those topics, including Trump Tower Moscow, Roger Stone WikiLeaks, and any White House role in Cohen's false statements to Congress." The committee wants to examine Cohen's claim that Donald Trump Jr. told his father about the meeting with the Russians at Trump Tower before it happened in June 2016, as well as Cohen's claim that Roger Stone informed the president that WikiLeaks was about to expose emails from the Clinton campaign and the DNC. House Oversight Chairman Elijah Cummings said there's a lot more investigating to be done across Congress.
What we did yesterday was we gathered a lot of information that I think we may not look into it, our committee, but one of the 5 or 6 committees will.
One focus for Cummings, hush money payments Cohen says he made to Stormy Daniels to keep her quiet about an alleged affair with Trump years before. Cohen showed lawmakers 2 reimbursement checks. One he said was signed by the president, and the other he said was signed by both Allen Weisselberg and Donald Trump Jr.
And do you know if this criminal financial scheme that the president, Allen Weisselberg, and Donald Trump Jr. are involved in is being investigated by the Southern District of New York?
I'd rather not discuss that question because it could be part of an investigation that's currently ongoing.
Allen Weisselberg is the Trump Organization's CFO, and he's provided testimony to federal prosecutors in Manhattan in exchange for limited immunity. Chairman Cummings says he may call both men in for questioning before House oversight. And Cohen opened the door to financial and tax fraud investigations, handing over the 2011 and 2013 financial statements Trump allegedly gave Deutsche Bank as the basis for a loan to buy the Buffalo Bills. Cohen suggested Trump inflated his worth for this loan, as well as on other occasions when it suited his interests.
Did the president ever provide inflated assets to an insurance company?
Yes.
And Cohen also suggested that prosecutors in New York are looking at other potential criminal conduct by the president beyond those hush money payments. Of course, we've already reported that SDNY is looking into the Trump Inaugural Committee, as well as executives at the Trump Organization. And Jake, of course, with House Oversight Chair Elijah Cummings saying that he expects widespread investigations over several committees. It appears that these 3 days of testimony from Michael Cohen may just be the tip of the iceberg. Jake?
All right, Jessica Schneider, thanks so much. 2 great legal minds with us, legal reporter Laura Jarrett, legal analyst Laura Coates. Laura, let me start with you. If you take Cohen at his word, and that's a big if, that's a big if, but if you do, he gave lawmakers a lot to examine. 1 day removed now, here's just a few of the potential crimes he's alleging the president committed: perjury, bank fraud, insurance fraud, election fraud, witness tampering, making false statements, and there are a lot more. What do you think is most potentially legally problematic for President Trump?
I mean, first of all of those are problematic, but the one that really was very problematic to me was the idea of the campaign finance violations. The reason for that is because you already have a U.S. Attorney's Office in New York who has said that this person, Donald Trump, is essentially an unindicted co-conspirator. They've already signed on. It's past investigation. It's now an actual offense. Someone's been convicted to it. It was a felony related to it. We know from Cohen's testimony that he identified the person as individual one is President Donald Trump. At first, we thought it was just Donald Trump, the citizen, perhaps even the candidate. But now you know that it was a president as well. Why that's important is because this whole notion of impeachment, the whole notion of a criminal offense, impeachment is about high crimes and misdemeanors. It's not expressly said what they mean by that. There is some nebulous aspect of it. but a felony certainly fits into the category of that. So you're leaning more about why it's problematic on the criminal front, SDNY, who doesn't have the same regulation of not indicting a sitting president. And you also have now the idea of the political hard and rock place, for a hard place and a rock for the president. On both fronts, campaign finance may not seem like a big deal to people, but it's a felony. And somebody has already said Trump is one of them.
And then he talked about the payments and also made them while as president in the Oval Office. Laura Jarrett, today, Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, the ranking Republican on that committee, and Mark Meadows, very close allies, both of them, to President Trump, asked the Justice Department to investigate Cohen for possible perjury, specifically for lying. I believe this is what the case they're making, lying about he didn't want a job in the Trump White House when he did. There's a ton of evidence, including a comment that he made to Chris Cuomo on his show. Could this actually, what's the legal ramification? He's already going to jail for lying to Congress.
Right. So, of course, the Justice Department doesn't need a referral from the two congressmen, Meadows and Jordan, in order to open up an investigation all on their own. I think it's pretty safe to say they were probably paying very close attention to every word that came out of Michael Cohen's mouth, making sure that not only that he didn't run afoul of any open investigations, but that it didn't run in contradiction to anything that he had told them behind closed doors. Now, obviously, Michael Cohen's lawyer, Lanny Davis, said in a statement to us today that this is just pure partisanship. He testified truthfully. But as you mentioned, I think it really raised a lot of questions about his credibility yesterday when he did say he didn't want a job in the White House, when the Southern District of New York said that they have text messages showing that he thought he was going to get a job in the White House. Now, Meadows and Jordan are also raising this question about whether he said he had never committed bank fraud. Well, he didn't plead guilty to bank fraud. He pled guilty to providing a false statement to a financial institution. So there's some wiggle room on some of these, but on the not wanting a job in the White House, I think that's a tricky one for him.
Laura Coates, some of the most intriguing questions to Cohen came from freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Here she is digging into potential bank fraud allegations. Take a listen.
To your knowledge, did the president ever provide inflated assets to an insurance company?
Yes.
Who else knows that the president did this?
Alan Weisselberg, Ron Lieberman, and Matthew Calamari.
And where would the committee find more information on this? Do you think we need to review his financial statements and his tax returns in order to compare them?
Yes, and you'd find it at the Trump org.
And where could this lead investigators?
Well, it's not a rabbit hole. Now you have a witness list. She just named all the people in response to who would know about this information and who do we need to see and what do we need to see. This is really, really keen of her to do so, because what she did is not just have a hypothetical, theoretical, or simply try to use it to grandstand. She elicited testimony, which is what you're supposed to do at these hearings, to figure out where to go next. Their function in the oversight is actually to have a legislative agenda and figure out where to go next. He just named the people. You can imagine every single one of them going, okay, well, here we go. And only one of them so far I can think about, Alan Weisselberg, he had only limited immunity with respect to the grand jury testimony. Now that he's exposed in front of Congress, well, you may be able to play that immunity function about it and say, what's there to lose? You already had immunity in that category, and now you're a part of our witness list and roadmap. Very smart of her to do.
Yeah, a lesson from the freshmen for some of the elders. Fewer speeches, please. More eliciting of information. Appreciate it. Thanks, Laura. Thank you, Laura.